What's happening, everybody out here? So I've been driving around in my 2018 Mustang now for the past couple of weeks with the 3-liter Whipple Stage 1 kit. And a lot of people are asking me, Al, what's it like to drive that car? Well, today I'm going to try to show you. Here's something I can say that I'm really not happy with. Here it is mid-October. It's 91 degrees outside. I've been sitting here idling maybe for 3 or 4 minutes, and my inlet air now has climbed to 152 degrees. Now, I don't know if that's a problem or not. I really don't know enough about these kind of things, but I can't say I really like that. My heat exchanger does not have fans. It's an upgraded heat exchanger. But it doesn't have any fans, so when you come to a stop like this, if you're here for any length of time, you're going to run into this problem. The IATs start to climb. Now, what I can say is that once I get going, they'll come down very quickly. Now, I got some traffic coming up behind me, so I got to wait for a second. There's an ambulance just pulled out in front of me, and a couple of cars I got to let get by. But now I'm going to take off, and let's watch what happens now. Cruise along at maybe 45 miles an hour, and we'll watch the IATs drop. They drop very quickly once you get moving, because the heat exchanger was a pretty healthy looking heat exchanger. It was like 3 1/4 inches thick, and it consumed the whole front of the car. I mean, it only left a little spot above the radiator where air could get through the radiator and not pass through the heat exchanger. But here you can see, typically this is what happens. You just get moving and the IATs just come down. So I don't know. I mean, you pull up in front of if you're at the drag strip and you do a burnout and you're staging and it takes a little bit of time. During that time, these IATs are going to climb. And one thing I can say too is I've noticed driving this car around, when the IATs get that high, 150 degrees or whatever, there's a noticeable power drop. The computer senses all of that and starts pulling timing. But here you can see now we're down to 114 degrees and dropping. It'll continue to drop. Basically, what I see a lot of the times when you're just driving along at these speeds, you'll see ambient air like what we're seeing right now, 91 degrees. The IATs will generally be something like 10 degrees higher than that, 8, 10 degrees, 11 degrees, due to the efficiency of the heat exchanger. But I'm really not thrilled about the way they climb when I come to a dead stop. I might have to look into some fans. Yeah, so how do you explain really what this is like? I really don't know. I mean, all I can say is that, with this much power, you get a lot of wheel spin. I drive it around a lot of times and you just stomp on it and hit the gas, and you break the wheels loose and the car starts fishtailing in the back. That's the fun of it. It's the closest comparison I can say is like you're driving around in the rain. You don't have any traction. The car's overpowering the pavement, and you're just out there melting the tires, having a lot of fun. It just blast you in the seat. It's amazing. And this only being a stage 1 kit. With 9 pounds of boost, having more power might be a little bit more fun, but if you can't get the power to the ground, I don't know. I mean, it's always good, like Carol Shelby said, too much power is almost enough, and I agree with him. I absolutely love having a car that's got this much horsepower. Whipple's got it on their website that this stage 1 kit's 775 horsepower to the crank. I don't know, when they originally released this kit, they had it rated at 755. I think it's they had it rated at 755 SAE and 775 standard. Whichever way it is, I got this thing figured to be roughly about 750 horsepower to the crank. I put down 738 to the wheels on a dyno jet over at Steeda, but my torque was soft at 486 pound-feet. I thought that was a little light, but now that I've been driving this car around, seeing how the heat exchanger is, I'm going to guess, because we didn't have fans on the front of the car that day when we were on the dyno. There were a couple of fans out there, but we didn't have a fan forcing air through the heat exchanger. So now that I see how this car is when it sits for a while and runs, and the IATs pick up, I'm going to guess on that dyno run that the air was hot and the computer was pulling timing, hence the torque number seemingly a little bit low. I think on a cool day, maybe with the fans on the heat exchanger, I could probably pick up a better number. I would say definitely so, because the way this thing runs, I think it's got a lot more torque than 486 pound-feet. So, you know, I really love the way this thing drives. I'm going to try to get into some clear road right now. I just passed 2 cops, by the way. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I like to keep it quiet, because, you know, you never know. I'm one of those guys, you know, if there's 100 guys out there driving around in their cars and nobody has a problem, if one guy is going to have a problem, it's probably me. It's been the story of my life. But this thing just rocket ships out from underneath you. It's like being shot out of a cannon. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I mean, I've been asked some questions by some of the viewers. Some people asked me, they noticed that I had a catch can underneath the hood. I'm going to show you that. And also, one person asked me, you know, how do you fill the intercooler fluid? You know, because the tank is down underneath the fender. Well, there's a spout at the top, and I'm going to show you that as well. So check this out. All right, well, here's a shot of the engine running. You can hear from the top. All you hear is the fuel injector snapping. Every once in a while, I'll hear the high pressure injector pump making a little bit of noise, but you know, most of the time, I hear this is what it sounds like. There you can see the oil separator, the Moroso oil separator. Nothing fancy, you know, just a nice little oil separator there, and you can see it's still got the stock throttle body on it. Pretty simple. And a lot of people say it looks like a stock install, but really what's not stock looking is this cold air kit. And but this is all what comes with the kit. This is nothing special, nothing extra. That's the stage 1. These are all of the parts and pieces that come with the stage 1. And the intercooler fluid is down below underneath the bumper, but this is how you see the level of the intercooler fluid. There's a little bit of sunlight coming in here, but right about here it says cold fill, and it should be kind of bubbling up right about here. You can see it kind of moving through there as the engine's running. Here on the driver's side of the motor, you hear it. It's nice and quiet. All you hear is the fuel injectors just kind of snapping away like any other Coyote motor. I don't know. I mean, I'm running the 5W50 oil as recommended by Whipple. I also use a industrial grade friction reducer. And, you know, it's not an endorsement. It's something that I've been using for a really long time. There's a link in the description to what that product is. I recommend it to anybody. And I mean, I use it in all my cars. I use it in my daily driver there. I use it in my wife's car. I even use it in the 2-cycle fuel that I mix for the motorcycle. And every lawnmower, every piece of equipment, every quad that I've ever had, I've used that friction reducer in. So anybody wants a little bit of protection for their Gen 3 Coyote because of all of these noises that they make, you might want to check out that product. Well, here's the good news, guys. Car's running, sounded really good. And check this out. No ticks there. Looks like we got a healthy motor. I might be one of the lucky ones. This is another kind of thing that you got to deal with when you have a you know, a Whipple on your car. You run into heat issues. This one here is not showing excessive heat at the moment. Really, this intercooler is inverted. Right now I'm just taking a temperature of the intercooler, and you can see it's not very hot. But if you just take a little poke at the cylinder head, you see there 188 degrees, 191 and climbing. Those are not excessive temperatures, but really under hood temperatures are pretty high sometimes with a blower like this. Now I kind of knew what I was getting myself into because a lot of people warn me about heat soak with a product like this. I can't say exactly that I have heat soak per se, but because I've never had anything go wrong. You know, you shut the car off, the temperatures pick up, and you start the car up and your fuel is boiling or something's just not working right. I haven't had that happen. But you know, like any other blower like this underneath the hood, you're going to have higher temperatures. There's just no way around it. So this is what's pretty typical. You know, when you drive this car around 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, whatever the ambient temperature is, the air inlet temperature is generally about 9, 10, 11 degrees warmer than ambient. Here you can see 88 degrees outside, and we're cruising along at 97 degrees inlet air. Personally, I think that's pretty good. I just don't like it when it gets so hot when I'm at a stop. Get past that guy. You know, so there you have it. So you pick up a little speed and it cools down a little bit more, 94 degrees. You know, so the heat exchanger does its job. I just really don't like the idea that there's no fans. Because when you sit at a parking light, you know, if you stopped at a red light for a while, the temperatures will climb to 150 degrees, maybe 160, possibly even more than that. So we're going to look into some fans maybe. I don't know. Let's see what we can find. There you have it, guys. Just a brief discussion of what it's like to have a kit like this. I have to say I really like it. A couple little things I might have to work out, but on the most part I like it. I'll be posting more videos like this about this car. For all of you out there who are thinking about getting a kit like this, I would say it's a really good way to go. You know, there'll be more videos about this in the future as maybe I get the car to the track and do some 0 to 60 times or whatever else might come up. So keep an eye on the channel. There'll always be more information about it. So if you're thinking about putting one of these on, maybe I can help you guys out. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you later.